You know, I don't know, man. I do not mind answering questions or talking about this stuff. I just overwhelmingly it all comes back to one final thought, which is I wish that we could all just be a little bit more open-minded, and not, we're not on different teams here. It's not Democrat versus Republicans necessarily. I think it's just extreme people. I think I know I'm probably the 10 millionth person who said this on the podcast, but it's the small amount of extremists that make the most noise, and they give each party a bad look. I know a lot of really good Republicans. I know a lot of really great Democrats. I know a lot of people on both sides that are fantastic people that would get along smashingly if they were to meet. But they'll never meet just because they don't share the same belief systems. And the thing is, it's just, they're both smart. They're both, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. And I think it was President Eisenhower said that anything too far right's in the gutter. Anything too far left is in the gutter.
Well, yeah.
The only usable surface is right down the middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could all use a little taste of that right now and stop being so, I'm making it sound so easy, but I believe that it actually is that easy. It's a mindset. It's up to you as an individual to change your mind about how you're going to react to people, instead of firing off venom and hatred and sit on social media all day long just looking for somebody to disagree with. It's disgusting.
I mean, according to some experts, what you said is true, though. It's like sometimes I worry that that's not the case. I mean, I guess when you, like, in history terms, in the first half of the 20th century, it was a minority of the population that found itself either aligned with a certain party of Germany or a certain party of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And what was going on in those communities, either in the 1910s and 20s or in the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah.
And that was a minority of the world population. But in those communities, it was very dense and it was very effective. And I think I sometimes reference Winston as this place where all these people are. And I'm in Rural Hall. I'm like surrounded by super moderate people
mm-hmm.
that they don't talk like a lot of my friends do. But this is why this is why I make reference to Winston so much, because I feel like there's a density in Winston that is both of these things that I'm worried about. There's a density in Winston of there's a higher population
mm-hmm.
of people who have the advantage to probably be able to be involved in the arts and be involved in things that
mm-hmm.
actually unify people and develop culture.
Mm-hmm.
But that is also the hotbed of where this sort of like this heat around this thing that makes difference between people, this ideological space that they make. That's where it's being bred and being celebrated and being passed around from person to person. And what's worse is, to go with the last thing you said, I think those folks, they think that they have free thought themselves to this place.
Right.
They think that, like, oh, I'm just on the right side of belief, and so it's everybody else that needs to do the work to get to where I am, and that's
unwilling to open their mind up to hear a different opinion without getting upset.
Yeah, and I don't know what to do about that, because like that whole idea of individualism, I think they think that they're in touch with it. I think they have no idea how far off the mark that they might be. And I'm not saying this as some kind of individuality expert. I'm just saying this as like a flawed observer that could also be wrong. But like,
same here. From
what I can tell, the common thing I see among the people that we're describing is that they all are a mouthpiece for something left of the middle. That's pretty heated right now.
I would agree, and I don't mean that with, for the folks that might hear that and get upset about that. I would just simply say to you, you are the folks that taught me to be open-minded. I am from here. I am surrounded with extremely conservative people every single day. I live in downtown Winston, and I work in Pofftown, so I wake up in an extraordinarily liberal neighborhood every morning, and I drive to an extremely conservative workplace every day, and I see an extreme on both ends. And like I said earlier, I see good in both places.
Yeah.
And I see horrible in both places. The horrible mostly comes from the fact that you're not willing to be wrong. You're so smart. And if I hear one more time, I swear I might snap. as much as things have changed for me in the last 4 years, I still can get fired up about it myself too, which wouldn't be a good example for what I try to preach. But, you know, if I hear one more person say, you got to do your own research, you know, it just,
Yeah.
okay, well, hold on. Let me call Duke. We're going to get 45,000 people to participate in a double-blind study, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. Now, let me borrow $200 million, and then we're going to get started, and I'll do my own research. No. You're telling me to do my own research when the research that you've done is from – you're telling me you can Google better than me?
Right. Right.
Or that your aunt's Facebook page is
more accurate than
more
your
accurate
information,
than my aunt's, you know, like I don't buy it. And I try to, you know, my wife would disagree with this, but I don't always think I'm right. And in my own personal belief system, like I have gotten really better. I'm not saying I've been this way my whole life. God knows I have not. But, you know, through this and through COVID and all that stuff, like I'm a very anxious person. So I was kind of built for COVID. You know, when they did the lockdown thing, I was like, I've been training for this my whole life.
Yeah.
The anxieties didn't get to me so much. I had a lot of time to think. I had a lot of time to look at politics and news in a way that I'd never looked at it before like that. You know, I just like, you know, but now isn't it a shame that you have to come home and watch two competing news outlets, you know, to see what's actually going on?
I mean,
if it's even a real thing.
Okay, wait. Okay. First, I really like what you said, because Winston was the same thing for me. Like the downtown Winston-Salem community was it just like opened me up in this new way.
They're the ones who taught me how to see, like, there's so much more. You know, when I was young, I traveled the world playing sport.
Right.
And that really opened my mind to even having my mind open. And I'm not trying to be deep. I'm just saying that you take a kid from Pofftown, North Carolina, and you put him on a team with, you know, 20 plus other kids that are from every other city and every other state in the country, and send them to, you know, all over the world, and you make friends and you share music and you share ideas, and you know, it's a very diverse, you know, sports are very diverse. We had, you know, people, you know, all different, you know, I just never had any women on my soccer team. That was the only thing. I never got to learn women from their perspective, but I got to learn, you know, people from Africa. I got to learn people from New Zealand, people from Ireland, people from UK, everywhere in the world. I got to play with people in school, and then in the U.S. I got to play with people from New York to Texas, back up to Portland and down, you know, from everywhere in the country, all over. And those people really opened my mind. It was like, oh, there's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so much more. And when I came back to Winston, the first thing I did was look for a place downtown, because that's where the bars were.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be close to the bars so I could just walk home. Get drunk and walk home, not get in trouble. And it was, in fact, those people, the liberal arts community of downtown Winston-Salem, that taught me to be open-minded and accepting. And they're the ones who taught me that. And now I feel like, and it's you know, again, I'm not going to fall subject to the thing I just pointed out, which is the small group of people that are the loudest, you know. But, you know, there's some of it's undeniable that some of the folks that I used to really look up to, I see them just hissing on social media and just looking for fights and posting things on purpose
all the time
to make people angry or to just get a reaction out of somebody. Those are the same people that helped me open my mind, and I'm looking at them going, what happened?
Yeah.
What, you know, I didn't idolize you, but I looked up to you.
Yeah.
And now you're doing this, and it's so see, I don't care if you have conservative views or if you have liberal views. I really don't care. I tend to be a little more liberal. but I have a lot of conservative values that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I don't feel like that's a bad thing because I don't want bad for anybody.
I'm with you, man. And yeah, I mean, I really related to that. I coming from, because I mean, I was born and raised part of the time in Northside Winston, and that's like home. That's like my deepest form of home.
Yeah, me
which
too.
is, you know, that's a whole different neighborhood than where I'm at and where I grew up the other half of my time in King and around Rural Hall and stuff, and around Stokes County.
People look at you funny if you tell them you're from King or that you went to North these days.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
they do me when they're like, "Where'd you graduate from?" I say North, and it's like, it's all right. I'm not gonna stab you. You know, like
It's a different environment.
for sure.
You know, so Winston was a place that really unlocked me as a person, and I was like,
So so welcoming at first.
yeah, sort of. Well,
For me.
yeah, but I don't know if it was as welcoming, but for me, it was just being exposed to more people,
Yeah.
and just getting to experience this thing, this way of being that was sort of embracing of something different and not so rigidly. I also come from a pretty rigid religious background, and so my whole identity was kind of built around the idea of tradition. And even from a young age, I was kind of pushing against the loyalty to tradition. So Winston was a great environment for me because I just fell right into it, and it felt like I was falling right into, wow, there's people down here that don't just build their whole sense of identity around tradition that's pretty old fashioned.
Yeah.
But yes, slowly but surely, it started to become more and more clear that that same system of belief that builds up traditional beliefs that kind of put barriers between people. They just have a version of that has different characteristics, but it still puts barriers between people. And
and you got to be careful. You know, you got to be really, really careful.
When I was
these small groups, though, a small ideology can turn into a world war.
It can.